Hey, what's up? It's Reagan and welcome back to my channel and to another bedroom bookish chat where I go through a spoiler-free but in-depth review of my thoughts on some of my recent reads. I always post my reviews of my books on my bookstagram at Reagan's Reads, where I post about all things books and ballet. However, I need a platform where I can just share more of my thoughts, so I'm not really restricted by like a character limit in the description bar. So I wanted to talk today about the super popular Duology by Elizabeth Lim, the Blood of Stars duology. The first one being, let me swap this, first one being Spin the Dawn, and the second one being Unravel the Dusk. Oh, by the way, should we address the Justin Bieber t-shirt? Found it at H&M. I think it was like £7, worth every pence. So yes, love him, love Justin. Also, the iced coffee in the child tumbler from Disney has made a reappearance. I just get cozy when I do these chats. Okay, my thoughts on this duology. Spoiler free. The first one I gave 5 stars. I loved this book. It was my first 5-star read of 2020. I read this 2 months ago, a month and a half ago. So it's about a girl who ends up going to the capital of her country. So she goes to the palace to compete to be the imperial tailor for the emperor, and the story picks up from there. It's sold as a Mulan retelling and a Project Runway inspired book. Now, those elements are present, and I bought the book because it's a Mulan retelling, and Mulan is my favorite Disney movie of all time. I watched it every single day when I was 3 years old. I still love Mulan. Love it. But it's not a Mulan retelling. Hand on heart, the only aspect about it being a Mulan retelling is that she is a girl who has to pretend to be a man, and I don't think that that's really an original idea. It's not Mulan. It happens in this book, and it is the kickstart for what else happens. It's so much more than that. It's amazing. The world is lush, it's really well developed, it's thought out. The subplot of the romance is great. I am rooting for the characters. I loved all the side characters. I loved that the author split this book into 3 sections, and it makes sense why those sections were split. Sometimes you read a book and it's like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and you're like, splitting it into parts doesn't really make a difference. It made a difference here. It almost felt like episodes. It did feel like an episode of a TV show or a movie, and it's gripping, it was engaging, it is a Chinese-inspired world. The descriptions were lovely, they were descriptive. I really, really rated this book. I liked the descriptions of the dresses. I mean, the covers are gorgeous. You can kind of get a glimpse of what to expect just from the cover. I think it does a really great job of telling you that it's whimsical, but also impactful. She goes on a journey and a great adventure all over this great land, and it kind of has a Lord of the Rings-esque feel to that journey, where you're meeting different opponents and oppositions along the way while you're trying to achieve these goals. And I love when characters have to take a journey because I love exploring fantastical worlds, and I think that this book was great. That being said, I would have been really, really content with this just being a standalone. I'm happy she wrote a second book, but I only gave this one 3 stars. Now, I went to Waterstones to buy this book the day it came out because I happened to finish this one the day of this book's release, and so I was like, I need to know what happens next. This book was amazing, please give me more. I went to Waterstones. They did not have it in any Waterstones on the day of the release. I don't know why that is. It was available online. I didn't want that. That wasn't good enough for me. I wanted to take it home then and read it. I read this fairy tale. Yeah, it is kind of a fairy tale. It's kind of a fairy tale. I read this fairy tale in about a day and a half. This one took me a little bit more than 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks to read, because I just picked up other things because it wasn't gripping me like the first one did. It was extremely plot driven, and that's a little bit confusing for me because I love plot. I love plot driven stories, but the characters have to be there, and especially when she did such a great job of character development in this book, I was missing it in this book. The relationships that she built in this book were muted in this one, and I don't think that was her intention. It was just like her love interest in this book didn't see him for half of it, and the whole revelation of her being in trouble and needing his help, it's not really a spoiler, he didn't turn around and come help her, and I thought that was out of character for him. I thought that he would have been like, right back, you know, we're gonna take care of this, we're gonna do this together. And he did, but it wasn't right away. It was like, oh, I opened right up to the page, right to the page where he comes in. 177 pages before we see him with her. That is literally half the book. That's amazing. I can't believe I opened right to that page. So I missed that because their relationship was so great to me in this first one. So yeah, okay, what else did I say in my Bookstagram? If you want to read my Bookstagram reviews, I'll post my link to my Instagram in the description bar. So I said, yeah, all plot-driven, characterization. Oh yeah, the characterization we did see was the main character, Maya, literally just taking everything on herself. It was her not accepting help, and she needed help. She really needed help. Her life depended on it. And I thought it was silly that she kept pushing people away because time was really ticking, like down to the minute. So I thought that was strange. Oh, the map. The map. I had issues with the map in the first book at some point, but the second book became really prevalent that there was a map issue. So let's just take a look at the map. Alright. So the Forgotten Isles of Lapsur are down here. Now, how they travel to this island is like by a lake. And from reading them traveling to this place, they're kind of up by the Autumn Palace. So you can see that's a really far away. There wasn't like, you don't see the lake on the map, which is my first issue. And suddenly they're able to like get to the isle and then get back. And then sometimes it would take, in this second book, it would take like 3 weeks for them to travel from the Winter Palace to the Spring Palace. But then at other points, they would be able to travel from like down here in the Simi Mountains, and they would suddenly be up by the Great Spice Road in like 3 days. And it just doesn't visually make sense on the map. And so I was confused. I kept having to reread parts to see like, did we time jump here? Some parts were time jumps in the second book, which I didn't care for. And other times it was like, no, they're still at that one part, but it only took them 2 days to get there. I'm confused. I know that's kind of like a strange element to address, the whole map situation. I could have just like taken the story for what it is and been fine with that. It's probably like what everyone else is doing, but I got confused with the map. I love a good map. Tell me where things are. Please make them make sense. The more details you add on the map, the better it is for me as a reader, because while I love reading, I am an extremely visual person, and I want to look at that map and reference it every single chapter so I know, oh, that's there, that person's there, they're trying to get to there, that person's chasing them, this is how long it'll take, this is why they're in trouble. It connects the plot for me, so fix that. Second, this book, she comes into her own, and I wanted, me personally, subjectively, wanted Maya to end up in a bigger position of power than she has. And I think, and I know that that wasn't the author's intention. I think the author's intention was for Maya to achieve her destiny and be a savior, but then step back and have, you know, the life that she always wanted. Spoiler free. But I wanted her to be like, taking on the army and like, crown on your head, let's go, you know, kick butt. And Lady Sarnay, who we see in this book, who is rude, very rude, she's the one that's like, everyone sees her as this great female empowerer. And while she is, this girl deserved more credit. People should have been bowing at her feet. They should have been praising her, and I just wish that that had happened for me. I just think that she deserved more. And that's not an issue with the plot or the book or saying that that's wrong. It certainly had nothing to do with me rating the book. I didn't rate this book lower because I wish that she had a different standing in society at the end, because I don't think that was the point of the book. But it's still, yeah, it's just still something that I would have liked. I was in a grumpy mood when I read this book, so maybe that had some sort of impact on my enjoyment of it. But when this book was so well done, like, this book was like going to a restaurant and ordering a piece of chocolate cake, and they bring out a whole 3-tier dessert, frosted, sprinkles, cherry on top. Surprise. It was amazing. Like, you thought you would like it, but you didn't expect to totally fall in love with it. And that was this book for me, and I loved that. This one I enjoyed. I'm glad it exists, but if I were to reread this, I would probably just reread the first one and then just know what happens in the second one and be content with that. I do recommend this duology. It's rare to find a fantasy duology that is concise in its world building, but also gives you a lot of detail so that you're not left like asking yourself why things exist like this, etc. I do know from other people's reviews that they really struggled with the lack of magic development or explanation in these books, particularly the second one. I understand that. It didn't bother me as much as other people, but I also was drawn to this duology because of the characters, and that's why I really liked it and continued reading it. So those are my bedroom bookish chat thoughts. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you would like to see more of my more in-depth, spoiler-free reviews, just like this video and leave a comment below, and I will do more in an upcoming video. Make sure to hit that subscribe bell so you know when I upload new videos every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I will see you next time. Bye!